Hello, folks. Thanks for joining. Let's just do some quick sound checks and visual checks. If you can go to the questions box and please say, "Hey, Nick, we can hear you. We can see you." All we need. Can you hear us? Sounds like we've got confirmation. All right, I'm gonna go one at a time here. Beth, I'm gonna try to give you mouse controls and just let me know if you've got this. Awesome. Okay. And Blake, I'm going to do the same for you and go back to the beginning. Perfect. And Beth, can you see if you still have control? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Hey, folks, while we're playing around with our technology here, if this is the first time you've ever been to an exclusive webinar, then you must be a part of our great history of traditions. And in your first webinar, you've got to go to that questions box and introduce yourself. So what's your name? What company are you coming in from? And you're supposed to do like, fine print. You're supposed to promise that you come to every webinar from now on, but you don't need to say that. But we do want to know who you are and what company you're dialing in from. So who will be our first brave soul? Once one person says something, everyone's going to jump in. So who's going to be that first one? Got Kevin from Trains. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Got George from Ron Bow. Oh, very cool. Custom European cabinets, really cool. Manny Jew from Jew Consulting. Hi, Manny, how are you? Welcome. Folks, a lot of you are just dialing in right now and probably wondering, why have we not gotten started? Because it's 2 p.m. And believe it or not, in like the last 20 seconds, our attendance just doubled. We know people are struggling with GoToWebinar. It's not the easiest thing to launch. Browsers have privacy policies and whatnot now, so we're giving everyone a couple extra minutes. We start at 2:02. In the meanwhile, Kevin, George, and Manny just introduced themselves. Who else is here for the first time to an exclusive webinar? Please go to that questions box and say hello. Tell us what your name is, what company you're dialing in from. Would love to welcome you. And we're going to get started in a minute after this. Okay, more people have just joined. Hello, folks. How are you? We're going to get started in 1 minute. We're just letting people work their way in to GoToWebinar. And I say we start to get ready. Really quick sound checks for Blake and Beth again. Either order, same time.
Hello.
Is this on? I think it looks like I think I'm good.
Sound great. Okay. All right. Folks, without further ado, let us get started. We got a lot to cover today. We have 3 different partners that are coming together to share some cool insights. So why are we doing this? Well, actually, we wanted to focus on what we call the trifecta of email, loyalty, and SMS. We thought it'd be interesting to cover it from this perspective because it's been, 2 decades as people have been investing in e-com and email at the same time. And all the reasons that may compel someone to invest in email are the same exact reasons that they should really be interested in SMS and that they should be interested in loyalty. And we will continue to make a hard case for that because I think everyone needs to understand why. And there are several trends that are bubbling up that make it even more imperative. We're going to share some ideas that are going to make it exciting as well. So the way that we organize this, first we talk about SMS trends. Then we're going to talk about in the context of holidays, how to use SMS, how to use loyalty. We want to bring SMS and loyalty into the bigger picture of email and marketing. And then we'll talk about, once again, this core trifecta: email, SMS, loyalty. How does it all work together? And then we'll have some closing tips. We'll take a lot of questions from you guys. So with that, I think there was just a question that just came in. Let me just see what that was. And you get a link. As I'm not sure if you just saw Lena's message to everyone. You'll get an email with a replay of the slides within the next few hours to Paolo's question there. So with that, if we can get some intros, Blake, you first.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much, Nick. Really excited to be with you and Beth here today. My name is Blake and Pearl. I run our partner community at Attentive. I support a lot of different partnerships functions, both from technology and agency fronts. Previously, I led growth at a company called Tone, conversational SMS company. We were acquired by Attentive in June, and that's when I came to the Attentive team. But most of my background really is in D2C e-com. I spent a lot of time building and scaling email and SMS programs for a lot of D2C brands. Quick background on Attentive, really quick too. We're the industry's leading text message marketing solution. We empower brands to be able to build a list of SMS subscribers and then send those hyper-personalized one-to-one messages across the entirety of the life cycle. We work with over 4,000 leading brands at this point, Coach, CB2, Pura Vida, Urban Outfitters, just to name a few. And our brands see about 20.5% of their total online revenue being driven by this channel. We very quickly have become a top 3 revenue channel across all of our customers.
Hi everyone, my name's Beth. Thanks so much, Blake, for that. Yeah, super excited to be here today. Really interesting subject, and yeah, thanks Exclusive for having us. Yeah, so as I said, my name's Beth. I'm the partner marketing executive at Loyalty Lion. So a little bit about us. Loyalty Lion is a data-driven loyalty and engagement platform that powers e-commerce growth. So we work with over 10,000 merchants worldwide, helping them create long-lasting customer relationships via fully customized loyalty programs. I'm calling in today from London, which is it's dark and miserable, so it's not like the sun-soaked rooms that Blake and Nick are sitting in. I'm going to hand back over to Nick, I think.
Awesome. For those of you who don't know about Exclusive, we were the first online retail agency. We focus on holistic marketing, so marketing across the entire customer journey from when you first start introducing yourself to a customer all the way down to loyalty and advocacy. We have over 400 clients, about 250 employees. We're a top 5 ad spend manager in the US, largest ad spend managers on the East Coast. Got a handful of our clients right there, so you can see who we work with. And myself, I joined the company in 2008 to help convert our business from projects to solutions. I developed our SEO program, our PPC program, our Amazon program, conversion consulting, email, and our strategy philosophy. Hired our first teams, and then when the teams were ready to go off on their own, I moved over to just working with prospective clients who might want to come on board, and I help create their strategies for growth. So I'll actually offer, if anyone wants our help, to develop those strategies later on. But without further ado, let's just dive right in.
Awesome. So I want to kind of set the stage, I guess, for this to be as tactical as possible for you. But I think a really great place to start with this discussion is really defining maybe the why SMS question. 2021 has been a great year of change for a lot of D2C brands with how we approach, acquisition and retention. Largely this is due in part to things like data and privacy changes, which have impacted various performance marketing channels. And frankly, it's just getting harder to reach consumers as we move away from this reliance on things like third-party cookies. And this has really accelerated adoption of own marketing channels like email and SMS, which are built on zero and first party data. First party data is like any sort of behavioral interactions, for example, what a product they might have viewed, whereas zero party data can be thought of like as preference data, anything, willingly shared by a customer, things like favorite color, height, shoe size, things like that. And these two data sets really kind of unlock opportunities for building more personal relationships with our customers and generating more revenue opportunities along the way. Further accelerating the adoption of SMS is the fact that over 50% of the top 1,000 online retailers are now using SMS to reach their consumers. 400 of those actually use Attentive as well. And this large adoption of SMS is signaling that brands are really seeing SMS as one of their top performance channels, and one of the few channels they're actually going deeper in year over year. And so not only are brands rushing into text, but consumers are too. Over 90% of consumers say they want to sign up to receive text from brands that they know and love. And this number has steadily risen over the past few years as consumers are valuing the connection that they're able to build with a brand over an intimate channel like SMS. Additionally too, among the many reasons why consumers prefer text, it's just that the smartphone app is one of the apps that we use commonly the most. We're already using this to communicate with our friends, our family, our loved ones, and it's really a fantastic conversational channel by nature. And this is also one of the apps that we most likely never delete from our phone, so it's prime real estate for you to be able to communicate, with your consumers. Also SMS is rapidly evolving. It's not just a promotional sales channel anymore. We did a large survey and consumers are wanting more out of SMS. They're looking for things like transactional messaging, two-way communication and customer service over SMS, and additional use cases like loyalty and other integrations to really create this connected customer experience. And the reason, why smartphones are great for personalization is a few things. The average US consumer has between 6 to 10 email addresses, but only one phone number. And I think, me personally, I've had only, one phone number since 6th grade, and that was 15 years ago. So it's seldomly never changed. We don't share devices typically, and we're almost always on our phones. If you check that Apple screen time report, it can be a little alarming sometimes. The average US consumer checks their phone about 96 times a day on average, and this continues to grow. And also, why do consumers love SMS? Well, it delivers a lot of what they want. It's built for mobile. It's easy and accessible to engage with. It's easy to opt in, easy to opt out. It's personalized because of all this data that we're using, and it's just conversational by nature. And frankly, it delivers a lot of what the brands want and need. Aside from being a fantastic personalization tool with a lot of the data that I just talked about, it's also an instantaneous way to reach your consumers on a highly engageable channel. You can see the proofs really in the stats on this slide. Mobile messaging can drive upwards of 10 times more revenue per message than an email. And this does not mean SMS is a replacement for email. And as Nick's going to talk to you today, it's a really great channel to supplement your email marketing efforts. And when done right, you can see performance benchmarks like you see on this slide, 99% open rates, 30+% click-through rates on behavioral messaging. And this is because we use that behavioral data to fuel that personalization. So I've kind of set up the why for SMS, but really thinking about, let's diving into some key tactics of how we can use SMS this holiday season and think about how we can kind of even leverage this to go into 2022 as well. So I've broken this down into a few key buckets here. You're likely considering a campaign strategy at this point with respect to maybe holiday communications on email already. And so I recommend having an SMS calendar in place and plan that out ahead of time too. Orchestrate when you're going to send those SMSs and when you're going to send those emails. Consider what sort of mix you're going to be using, whether it's promotions, maybe content, how you're going to promote your loyalty program, all these different things. And all this to say, getting ahead and staying nimble on this SMS promotions calendar is really going to keep you a step ahead should you need to pivot. A great example of brands that we work with is maybe they sell out of products and what are they going to do with their campaign strategy. So having that planned ahead of time is just super impactful. Also, we're seeing doorbusters moving online with respect to just offers happening. And so being able to communicate that with the text the day of is a really great way to communicate urgency, but also exclusivity within your kind of SMS list. This is a big one, managing shipping expectations. Aside from all of the, the texts that are going to drive sales, which probably are going to be really important from a promotion standpoint, these transactional texts might actually be your most important text you send during this holiday season. over 97% of consumers want to receive text relating to order updates via a channel like text. And this is a really low-hanging fruit to consider just adding, as your customers are going to be looking to have updates on their orders throughout the season. Whereas my order tickets are about to be through the roof as we look at uncertain logistics times in Q4 with increased shopping. And if there's anything that we learned from Q4 of last year, it's that logistics can be unpredictable at best. And so being proactive with these transactional messages is really the right strategy when considering your customer's experience. Brands stand to make millions this year in Q4, and making sure you avoid unnecessary cancellations by managing those expectations, super impactful. And then also just the VIP treatment with SMS. The majority of retailers that we've surveyed and talked to are planning to send exclusive promotions via their text subscribers list. And so making sure that you make your text list feel exclusive can be a really impactful strategy. SMS subscribers are often one of the brand's most engaged audiences, and VIP offers can help create that sense of community. And plus, that's the instantaneous nature of text helps to lead to immediate conversions and driving more last-minute revenue. So now that I've talked about a few core themes, I think of what we can use text as in this holiday season, I want to transition to maybe a little bit of a life cycle playbook and some low-hanging fruits that you can really take advantage of this holiday season. Starting with pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I know we're just a few days out, but this is still a great opportunity to incentivize your site visitors to sign up for the SMS list and to receive holiday exclusive offers on SMS. This creates a little bit of exclusivity to the channel. I've seen a lot of brands changing their SMS sign-up flow during this time to say something like, be the first to shop our SMS exclusives this holiday season. And this is able to incentivize getting folks on that list in a little bit more of a surprise and delight sort of way. And then once they opt in, just being sure to tell them what they can expect next. Say that the sale is going to drop a day early and letting them know that that's going to happen. Also, looking to leverage your existing email and social media followings to get them to opt into the SMS list this way, whether that's a landing page you're sending them to, maybe an Instagram tap to opt-in story, and just making that process really seamless. This is a great example here of a brand that we work with called Dreamland Baby. You can see here they're offering their site visitors early access to shop a Black Friday sale by signing up for the SMS program. So this creates that VIP feel and helps inspire action to opt into the program. And this strategy really helped them to create a qualified list heading into the sale. So the minute they turned it live, they were able to capitalize on those conversions. Now transitioning over to once we're in peak kind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, what are some things that we can do with SMS to help drive that engagement and revenue? As I mentioned, giving the subscribers early access is a great strategy. If you've been growing your list or hyping it up in the days leading up, this can really help you start with that big bang. A fantastic strategy is to send a text the night before the sale and to let them know that something is coming the day of. And then once that morning of, you send the text and really kind of create that sort of out of the gate, urgency. You can also consider using text to kind of bookend your promotions, maybe a last call, to kind of wrap up the sale and help convert any on the fence shoppers with some added urgency. Additionally, making sure you have triggered behavioral messages dialed in is a really great strategy for effectively retargeting shoppers with things like abandoned cart reminders. Abandonment is usually higher during this time as people are window shopping, and so having these kind of triggered behavioral messages can help drive large amounts of revenue with very little additional effort on your end. And so this is a great example of a brand we work with called who use SMS to give their subscribers early access on Black Friday. They included an eye-catching gift just to help them kind of tell a little bit more about the sale and the story and make the subscribers feel special for receiving this offer. Another great example is App2Be, their brand that we work with. They used a triggered browse abandonment message to help capture what would have been otherwise lost revenue. And so they paired this with their Cyber Monday strategy to help incentivize high intent subscribers without offering anything additional. You can see the messages there's just literally calling out this fantastic sale that they're having and reminding the shoppers to take advantage of it before it ends. So now kind of switching over to what we can do maybe post Black Friday, Cyber Monday, thinking about shifting your strategy to retargeting people who might have not converted, but also recognizing people who've already made a purchase during Black Friday, Cyber Monday and giving them a little bit of a different treatment. A few quick wins, use SMS again to retarget people who might have not made that purchase but showed intent. With someone who maybe just made a purchase, maybe look at building relationships with them through a post-purchase journey. You can think of things like educational content, product information, order updates, as I mentioned. These all add value to the brand and kind of their journey. Additionally, we can incentivize repeat purchases, maybe through cross sells. If someone purchased shoes, maybe we want to sell them socks next, and being able to have that kind of appropriate campaign in place. A great example too is to promote your loyalty program and incentivize people to opt in and earn points. This could be someone who just made a purchase, or maybe someone who didn't make a purchase, incentivizing them to earn extra loyalty points by completing a purchase. This is a great example of a brand called Cariuma. They actually use their post-purchase flow to educate people on their eco-friendly mission. And so you could be considering using maybe some content in your post-purchase strategy. You can see they're basically telling them what they're doing with this program. And then after 45 days, they also send them another text to invite them to join that loyalty program, bringing them further into that life cycle. Lastly, all this is for not, if we're not, getting our messages delivered. And so we anticipate, this season there's going to be more text sent than ever, and it's really important, to work with a vendor who's going to prioritize having deliverability tools in place and infrastructures in place to help ensure that your most important messages on days like Black Friday, that those messages actually get delivered. And so at Attentive, we've invested a lot personally into deliverability, and it's something we take very seriously to make sure that you can get those messages delivered on time, to really help capitalize on those conversions. So with all that, I'm going to pass it over to Beth, who's going to talk a little bit about loyalty.
Thanks so much, Blake. That was super, super interesting. Thank you. Let me just switch to the next slide. Yeah, so hi everyone. Yeah, I'm going to be talking today about the power of loyalty in your post-holiday strategy. So we know that for 64% of retailers, shoppers acquired during Black Friday, Cyber Monday have a lower lifetime value than those obtained at other times of the year. So why is that? So customers acquired during this time are very expensive. It costs a pretty penny to market to shoppers over the Black Friday period, and any discounts or promotions that you'll have running will impact your overall profit. Another reason is that deal-seeking shoppers can often be fickle. So discount shoppers have much less emotional attachment to brands. In fact, our recent consumer research shows that 60% of customers say that Black Friday, Cyber Monday discounts negatively impact their trust in a brand. So how do you turn these deal-seeking shoppers into customers that will grow your business and provide you long-term value? The answer is securing long-term loyalty. So don't let the customers you acquire during the peak period become one-time purchasers. Their real value is going to come from increasing their lifetime value and having them shop with you again and again. So before we dive into the 3 important tactics I'm going to share with you to implement to increase customer lifetime value, let's take a little look at what makes a loyal customer to set the scene. So there are several possible benchmarks you can use when measuring customer loyalty. One could be referrals. So how frequently are your loyal customers referring your brand to their friends and families? Another one is how frequently are they posting user-generated content? So how often are they shouting about your brand on social, for example? But the main benchmarks we use are repeat purchase rate and customer lifetime value, as these are the main revenue generators which you can use to grow your brand, essentially. So if we look at this image on the slide, showing the likelihood of customers to repeat purchase, we can see that after one purchase, a customer has a 22% chance of returning to shop with your brand. That's not a horrible return rate, but if you can get that customer to come back for a second purchase, your chances of repeat purchase rate almost doubles. And as you can see, this goes much higher, the more you can get your customers to come back and buy with you again and again. So giving customers acquired over the peak season a reason to return and shop with you is essential to securing this long-term loyalty. But this can be tricky because shoppers acquired via discounts may well expect discounts in the future. So you need to show ways to show your new customers that it's worth paying full price in order to stay connected with your brand. So how do you get your customers coming back? You can use your loyalty program to tell your new customers that you value them and not just their Black Friday purchase. So next, we'll show 3 important tactics you can implement to increase the lifetime value. So the first one is incentivizing repeat purchases with loyalty points. So we know that loyalty points create a clear path to a customer's heart. Shoppers who redeem points actually spend 2.5 times more than a non-member. So to transform your newly acquired shoppers into repeat purchasers, you can include your points within post-purchase emails or text messages, so they're aware of the points they've acquired. This will then increase the likelihood of them returning to your store because I want to build up those points and earn more rewards. But your customer points do not have to be limited to when your customers buy something. So you can reward your shoppers for more than just purchases to build that relationship with them even further. So for example, a brand called Lucy and Yak, they award points to their customers for following on social media and letting them know their birthday, for example. You can also run double discount events for your loyalty program members in the January, but make sure you kind of promote that before the January, because then this will highlight the value of staying loyal with your brand into the new year. And our other example on this slide is the beauty brand Bath and Unwind. So they successfully incentivized repeat custom by running a triple reward points event. So very generous. But as a result of their loyalty strategy, they've seen a repeat purchase rate of their members who redeem rewards increase by 62%. And today, the Bath and Unwind team generates 24% of their revenue from their loyal customers alone. So some great results there. Moving on to tactic 2, so encouraging your customers to level up. So we know that 74% of customers are motivated to be loyal by the feeling that they are working towards a goal or a reward. So with something to aspire towards, they'll become more likely to return to shop with you. So how can you introduce this to your post-holiday strategy? So to keep your customers hooked after the holidays, you can place your customers into tiers within your loyalty program. If you offer bigger and better benefits in each tier, this will then encourage your customers to return, engage, and spend more. We recommend ensuring that your different levels of rewards and promotions are really visible to your customers. So the newly acquired customers that you're going to get in the peak season, they're going to come in at the bottom tier. But by making your higher tiers visible, they will then have other tiers that they want to aspire to, encouraging them to spend more. So for example, the lingerie brand, Lively, put together their loyalty program and they put members into tiers so members could earn more exclusive rewards as they move up the ladder. And so they can move from bestie status all the way to powerhouse status. And by creating these aspirational tiers, Lively's team increased its average order value by 21% and its customer lifetime value by 39%. And the final tactic, which is my favorite one, is offering experiential points and rewards. So again, our research shows that 68% of customers purchase from brands that share values, and it's the largest driver for building customer loyalty. So you can amplify your brand values by creating experiential points and rewards within your loyalty program that you know are going to resonate with your customer base. So this is a really fun and innovative way to customize your loyalty program that will allow you to create an emotional connection with your shoppers and allow you to stand out and be memorable. So the stronger this alignment between your brand and your customers, the more loyal your customers are going to become, and they'll be more likely to return to shop with you, but also they're more likely to recommend your brand to their friends and family members. We recommend offering high value rewards and to focus on charities and causes that are going to be close to your customer's heart. So if we dig into a few examples here, we have a pet food brand, Edgard & Cooper. So they show that they're aligned with their customers by offering rewards that support ethical causes that they know their customers care about. So for example, they encourage their customers to exchange belly rubs, which is what they call their loyalty points, for donating meals to a dog shelter or planting trees. By building this stronger relationship and this emotional connection with their customers, Edgard and Cooper have achieved a 22% average order value uplift and a 53% increase in their retention rate. Another example that I want to shout about as well is vegan and cruelty-free skincare, Pacifica Beauty. So they know that sustainability is a key value of their customer base. And so they offer loyalty program members 50 loyalty points for recycling empty bottles. And as a result of this loyalty strategy, today the Pacifica Beauty team is generating 35% of their revenue from their loyal customers, which is great. So to summarize, yeah, a loyalty program is essential in your post-holiday strategy to tell your new customers that you value them and not just that Black Friday purchase. And the 3 important tactics you can implement to increase this customer lifetime value is incentivizing your new customers to return to shop with you with loyalty points, encouraging your customers to level up with aspirational tiers, and finally creating that emotional connection with those customized rewards.
Oh, amazing. Loved all that. And I'm gonna try to bring it back just one step, guys, and offer some sage advice, which is just obvious advice people ignore. But just try to keep all this in mind. Where does SMS and where does loyalty fit into everything? Whether you have even entirely understood this, what you've been building in your marketing machine this entire time is 3 machines. If you've been building a top of funnel, which is your search strategy, when will I show up to introduce myself? You've been using remarketing like Google Ads and Facebook to try to get people convinced that they're supposed to buy from you. And then you've been using those same advertising platforms and email to try to get repeat purchases. And SMS and loyalty are going to fit perfectly within all 3. What we want to give people is just a quick rubric to coordinate all this together. You have ideas now of what you can do on the SMS side and loyalty side, but it's really good to plan everything as big picture as possible. The same segmentation strategy that you utilize for all your holistic channels should still apply here. You should understand what your core segments are, and within a segment you can even have other targets where the positioning might be a little bit different, but organize it that way. And you're looking for a cross section between a segment and an engagement level, so you can then determine what kind of messages are required and what channels are going to be coordinated together at what frequency, what timing, and to what cost, and what KPIs drive that. So we want to encourage everyone to go through the entire engagement funnel and make sure you're using a combination of display as well as video. But for the dynamic side, dynamic is based on logic. So someone has looked at a product, showing them the same product. If they looked at a product that doesn't have a high conversion rate, then maybe showing them a product that has a higher conversion rate. If someone has made a purchase, then using their past purchase history to start making logical recommendations. That approach of engagement level versus segment and all the product recommendations should be something that is carefully planned for all your channels. There should be some carryover from what you do in your SMS, your email, your Facebook strategy, and your Google Ads. So we're asking the people think carefully about how they can group this all out. If you have not been testing milestone-based advertising, then now is a good time to incorporate that into your SMS and loyalty as well. So milestone-based is when someone has added to cart but they did not finish, making sure there's a treatment across all channels, Facebook, Google Ads, SMS, email, that is trying to encourage an increase in cognitive recall. Those are the facts people know about your business. An increase in affect, which is the way people feel about your business. I think Beth and Blake just gave a lot of great examples about how you build cognitive recall and you build that affect recall. You can get a tipping point with maybe an incentive. That's your first purchase treatment, and it has to be carefully coordinated across all your channels. Similarly, to get to that jumping point from that 22% to 43% that Beth was talking about, that first purchase to second purchase, all of a sudden, the value of every net customer has doubled by just getting them to that second purchase. That mid-tier treatment of new customer offers, again, coordinated through deliberate strategy, coordinated strategy, Facebook, Google Ads, SMS, email. So just don't live in one channel and make sure that it's coordinated carefully across all. There's actually been a lot of platform-based reasons as well for us to start thinking about the synergy, or rather the redundancy of effort between different platforms, where when you are curating particular lists for email and SMS, you're also thinking about how those lists are going to be used for Facebook and for Google Ads. So as you are starting to cut up these lists, our advice is that you think about the different ways in which these lists will overlap or negate each other. So for starters, always think about creating lists that could be targeted separately. There's something that homogeneously brings this group together, and you want to keep them separated. You also want to think about how you can layer a segment with other information. So for example, if you have a segment based on a category or catalog subsection, like women's clothing, if you have women's and men's clothing, then making sure that you can cross-section that with their recency of purchase, or you could potentially cross-section it with other demographic data in Facebook if you are uploading that list into Facebook. Make sure you start creating lists for exclusion, right? Just as you want to make sure your inbox rate is high, you also want to make sure your targeting is very meaningful on Facebook and Google. So these lists that are going to be applied across multiple treatments, make sure you do have lists that are meant for exclusion. And high return customers, not repeat rate, but people who return everything that they buy, you may want to exclude them because you don't need to keep doubling down on your investment there. You can also leverage Facebook's data, for example, to make sure that those exclusion lists and the data points associated with them actually build out a larger lookalike exclusion list. Which gets me to the last point. You want to think about how the data, when grouped together, could potentially seed algorithmic definitions. So if you have a group of your customers who have bought from you 5 times, and you know that they're by far the best, so you're not sure if it's because these people travel a lot, where they live, what their income is, what other brand affinities they have. By isolating that group and using the power of Facebook's lookalike engine, for example, you can allow Facebook to fill in the rest of that data. So drive with purpose across all these channels. Email signups are kind of a fulcrum here. The more emails you have, the more you can do in that Facebook side, the Google Ads side, your email side for actual customers and people who will matriculate to become customers, and all that transition over to SMS. In 2020, there were a few sign-up pop-ups that were put into a competition, and these are the top 4 winners. So I'm just going to go through what makes them special. Maybe this applies to your company. So Udi, the reason this particular pop-up was the #1 winner was because of the high contrast It was a really well timed. There's a timer on it, and the call to action was just crystal clear. The website itself has a very dark look to it, so these bold colors, and the person who seems like they were actually calling attention to the CTA drove phenomenal performance. Princess Folly had an issue where they grouped their entire business into international units, and it was hard for them to do all the data mapping. So they created kind of this like throwback look, matrixy. Just give us your email address, but please do tell us what country you're from, so that they can then group their data into those subsections. Mary Ruth's, the reason that they were up on the list was the aggressive testing that they did. In the end, this $10 off your first order seems super simplistic, but it was the winner of dozens of tests that were done, and just the practice itself was done in a scientific manner. School Mask Pack basically just said, give us your email address and you'll be one of the random winners for face masks. And seems like a pretty innocuous idea. In 90 days, they got 250,000 subscribers. So sometimes the ideas that seem a little far out there, still worth testing. Blake covered this a little bit, but just a reminder, the most important automations for email and SMS are going to be your welcome series, your abandon cart, your browse abandonment, and your post-purchase series. When we share this PDF, I advise just take a look at the principal objectives that you want to focus on for each. But again, this is fairly obvious, but it should be more of a checklist for you. Before you go into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you still have a few days left to make sure that you have at least something basic for all these 4 tracks. And finally, before we close, just want to make the case again for why SMS and loyalty should be on the minds of 100% of e-commerce businesses that already invest in email. You invest in email because it's working. It's working to do a few different things. You use email to compel your first purchase. A loyalty program does the same thing, and SMS works very similar towards that first purchase as well, just as email would. You want to drive repeat sales. You want that beautiful second sale to happen. So all of a sudden, 40% of your customers are buying from you more often. You want to develop lifetime buyers, and it's not just about that second purchase. It's about many purchases thereon. And you want to start transitioning from in the science of retention of just always getting loyalty, which is more purchases, and trying to get that loyalty to turn into advocacy, where people are going back out there as brand advocates, as evangelists of your brand. If you're doing this with email, you're probably very successful. You may see some waning results with all the policies that are out there, but to start to supplement with SMS a little bit and catalyze with the power of loyalty is going to get us much further. Like that, I know that a big announcement came out just a few weeks ago. If you guys want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. I'll let Beth hop in on this too, but we're really excited to see. There was a question in the chat even too about, is loyalty line exclusive to email, or can we do it on SMS? And really excited to announce an integration that we launched the other month with Loyalty Lion to connect SMS and loyalty, and really looking at the lifecycle moments where we would want to be connecting the two to be able to just drive adoption on both sides. Nick talking a lot about advocacy and using these channels to really prop up your loyalty program is just a fantastic value add. So we're really excited about this. A lot of our shared customers are, and I think is a great addition to think about is how you're connecting all of your tech. And so this integration makes that happen a lot.
Yeah, just to echo kind of Blake's thoughts there. As he mentioned earlier, I think the average time people look at a phone in the US today is like 96 times. So it's a really it's a huge opportunity to increase engagement with your loyalty program via SMS. And yeah, there's loads of great things you can do with our integration. So you can deliver personalized loyalty program updates. So for example, you can let customers know how many points they've got. You could say, you know, you've got a reward reminder, so like you've got a reward to redeem, which encourages reward redemption and further spend. You could let a customer know if they're really close to unlocking a tier, for example. So again, encouraging them to go and spend too. And another great use case is encouraging SMS marketing sign up by offering loyalty points. We've got quite a few brands that do that. So if you sign up to SMS and marketing, you get like 50 loyalty points. So it's a really great integration and a really great way to increase engagement with the loyalty program.
And I think too, just to add a little bit onto that actually real quickly, is also like, you know, Beth is talking a lot about this as well, but looking at additional strategies that don't involve a discount and being able to promote the loyalty program in this way, nudge people towards purchases with behavioral intent. It just really gives you more like ammunition really to be able to, you know, go out and engage your customers in a way that maybe they're just not used to seeing, and they're probably more susceptible to engaging with you on, you know, rather than a 15% discount, those points can really go a long way, and also just, you know, driving repeat purchases. So a lot of great opportunities, I think, to connect it to. Yeah,
we've been doing email marketing for about 20 years. And obviously email has been fundamental in e-commerce, especially with niche and with direct-to-consumer brands. The shift to SMS with our clients has been phenomenal. I think we have about 35 clients already on Attentive. And as we have this like simple process of bringing people onto SMS to three-phase process, the loyalty lines integration is giving us so much more to play with there. So we're really excited about it as well. I think our clients are super happy with all this. Thank you guys for figuring out the technical aspects of all that. Let's just do some closing tips. We have tons of questions that have come through, so we'll try to make our closing tips fairly quick.
Cool, thanks, Dick. Yeah, I kind of spoke about this a little bit already, but as we mentioned earlier, our latest research shows that shoppers aren't as in love with Black Friday as you might think. So 60% of consumers say that the discounts are never as good as they expect them to be, and 58% say that those offers can negatively impact their trust in a brand. So what can you do to help that? Can I skip to the next slide? There we go, thank you. So our holiday tip is to deploy alternative incentives alongside discounts. So what do we mean by that? So our research showed that incentives such as shipping perks, early access to sales, and loyalty points, just like Blake mentioned, would make shoppers just as likely to make that Black Friday purchase as a discount would. So this is a great way to avoid being another discounted brand. It increases the lifetime value of your customers, and it still protects your profit margins. I'll move on over to Blake, I think. Oh no, sorry, Nick.
My tip is that you give the go-ahead to your marketing teams to start making the shift towards first-party data. There's not much of a choice at this point between GDPR and CCPA and the huge increase in usage of the internet because of COVID, and also the increased negative sentiment towards privacy challenges. Third-party data is not going to be as useful. So you have to survive through embracing first-party and zero-party data, as Blake has also explained. Just don't put up any guards on that. Encourage your team to just go all the way in. Having the SMS and the loyalty strategies that excite your entire team and have so much upside is a great way to embrace the first party movement that we all need to at this point. It brings a lot of life to it. So just go in, but you have to make the jump. So that's the big tip, and why not do it before the year's over? There's a lot of policy changes that are going to hit as soon as 2022 hits. So kind of a month and a half.
Definitely some great points there, Beth and Nick. But I think also just to add on to some last thoughts, I think, just being intentional and planning ahead through all of these different milestones is very important. And looking to, when you're thinking about SMS and how that fits, it's obviously we can use this to drive promotions, but as Beth mentioned, looking to deploy alternatives to discounts and using SMS as a communication vehicle to drive that is a fantastic way to just create a little bit more surprise and delight moments, I think, for your audience, especially like being inundated with messaging, over, just if you're worried about what to send, these are great strategies just to think about alternatives. Also getting your transactional messages in place on both SMS and email too. I mean, have those in place and making sure that your customers understand expectations just around where their order is and what they can expect. And then lastly, just the capitalizing on triggered messages and being able to have those moments to retarget. Nick had that great breakdown, I think, of those different kind of flows that you would want to have set up, but having those dialed in can really help to retarget shoppers and also bring them into the life cycle a little bit deeper. So just some quick wins, I think, to think about. But above all, this is just being proactive. I think that's really the big takeaway, is just being proactive and intentional with this can go a long way with all of your channels.
Awesome. And we do have a few holiday offers from each partner. I'm going to go first. Performance. Being a performance agency means that we have to think about the entire holistic chain and what actually gets the chain to start working. So what we offer each of you is, let us take a shot at trying to plan that for you. First, defining what we think the customer journey should be as customers go from first time seeing you to getting to that first purchase, and then thereafter what channels should be involved, what does it look like right now, what are your competitors doing, and then as a subcomponent of that, kind of another piece of the pyramid is the search strategy, which is, okay, now we know what we're going to do to convince customers to buy, and then what we're going to do after they buy. Where should we play? What pockets of demand should we really be strong in? What competitors should we conquest? How do we defend our brand in the search side? And then finally, after we've defined all the channels that will hit throughout the entire customer journey, what are we going to pour into them? There's science called consumer behavior. There's science to what you're supposed to put into your ads, and also that same science gives you a sense of why certain ads worked and which ones failed, and what you can do to kind of bottle up the wins and continue. So we offer this as a free offer. We're just going to run a poll, which is, before you go into 2022, would you like our team to go ahead and create probably like an 80 to 100 slide presentation? We don't charge for it. It's for us to find the perfect next client who's looking for an agency that is much more thoughtful about intentionally growing their business and trying to bring the quagmire of different channels together in something that's much neater. So we'll run this for a little bit more. Folks, if the answer is no, please just say no. No big deal at all. We would love to kind of hit a tipping point of people who are voting here. And if it's a maybe and you need more info, yeah, it makes sense. I'm only giving you like 10 seconds worth of information. So we'll shut this down in 3, 2, 1. Okay. We got an offer from Attentive.
Yeah, so to celebrate our great partners, Loyalty Line, Exclusive Concepts, and as a thanks for attending this event today, we're interested in, if anyone's interested in learning more about SMS, we're willing to give everyone on this call today a 60-day free trial of Attentive to get you started before the end of this year. And really start 2022 off with a bang, I think. This is a great opportunity for you to start leveraging the power of text as part of your own channel strategy, as we've talked about today. So if you're interested, we'll be circulating this PDF after this call as well, where you can click on the link on this to learn more. But also, if you're interested, let us know in the poll here, and we're happy to get you set up with that.
The same rules apply, folks. If it's not a good fit, go ahead and just tell us so that we can get. We've got a calculation here of what percentage of people have voted. And once we hit a critical point there, then we will shut this down. But if you need more info, it never hurts, right? All right, go ahead. Blake, do you have an idea of how quickly people might hear back?
It'll definitely be as soon as possible. Yeah, we will definitely reach out if anyone's interested, or even just want to take a look and review the information. It'll be a quick turnaround on our end.
Awesome. All right, folks, we're going to shut this one down in 3, 2, 1, and
Thank you. Yeah, really excited also to offer a free trial of Loyalty Lion. So you're very welcome to go over to loyaltylion.com and you can add it to your store, start playing around with it, have a look in the back end and see the data and loyalty insights that our tech offers. Alternatively, you can sign up for a free personalized loyalty strategy, so that'll be personalized to your brand. And yeah, we'll email that over to you. You can use that link. I think it's being sent around in a PDF afterwards. And if you have any questions or want to chat to one of our loyalty experts, we'd be very happy to help. Just contact them via our website.
Awesome. I thought I launched that. Sorry, guys. Well, voting is happening much faster here. This is great. I'd love to see more businesses have a really strong loyalty program. Personally, I think every brand that I'm engaged with, it's important for me to get both SMS updates, which I check virtually every single one that I get. But the loyalty side is just such a fun surprise. And you've built up points you didn't even know you had points. All right, so folks, we're just going to give it a little bit more time. Again, if you're a no, just hit no there, or maybe, and just waiting for a little bit more here, and we are good to go. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Now we've got some questions. Matt and Blake, can you guys see the questions or no?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I
Great.
can see.
You're the experts, whoever wants to go first. Beth, you were the last to promote the offer, so we'll let Blake go first.
Okay.
Unless you don't see anything.
I'll take this one. This comes from Adam. He's asking best practices to increase opt-ins on SMS. That's a great question. There's a fair amount of strategies that I could, talk into, but I think one of the most important ones is thinking about placement. Like where are you trying to get folks to opt in? Do you have a growth tool in place? For example, first-time site visitors, are you showing it maybe an exit intent pop-up when they go to leave the site? Are you showing something when they come onto site? Like those on-site tools are really, really strong drivers for conversions. And looking at something like an exit intent, actually might increase conversions as, they're probably looking, for something, additional. So those are great strategies. Some other out of the box kind of creative ways that we're seeing is product inserts, putting a text to join keyword on, maybe they make the purchase and you want to get them to opt in. There's probably some creative things you could think about tying in loyalty and SMS together to opt in, to get that kind of a double opt in there. So that's a great strategy. And lastly, I recommend if you have an email list, using landing pages to get them already from email to SMS and offering something additional. Doesn't always have to be a discount, as we've talked a lot about today. So those are 3 things I always look to as kind of quick wins for growing that list faster.
And you did mention, like in our discussions, that for the most part, it's better not to have SMS in your email pop-up, but to kind of curate that from the list later.
Yeah, and you can definitely, figure out some different strategies. Like we always recommend an email first and then collecting a phone number second. But I mean, it's totally on a brand by brand basis, how you really want to grow those lists.
I can take.
Any questions you want to take?
Yeah, so so one from Barbara who was asked, I think the question is, can you essentially connect your loyalty program across your e-commerce store and your brick and mortar store, which is a great question. Yes, you can. I think it's obviously key that you're delivering a consistent experience of your brand as well as your loyalty program. And we know that shoppers that buy both online and in store have a way higher lifetime value than those using just one channel. So it makes sense to obviously give customers that consistent loyalty experience wherever they shop with you, so they can like earn points in store, but they can like spend it online. Yes, you can, Barbara.
And it looks like there's one more question here asking about how images and GIFs work on SMS. It's a great question. So you can use these in both your campaigns and automations, really seamless with Attentive. You can just insert an image or a GIF, and there's guidelines that will give you on what dimensions you'll need. But I mean, we can do across GIFs, we can do images, we can even do audio messages now too. So if you want to put like a voice memo from the founder, something like that. Additionally, even putting in like video previews. So if you want to like link to a YouTube video and show them that, a lot of different creative ways to use what's called MMS in your messaging, and those typically drive higher clicks just because of the engageable nature of these. So great strategy to think about when you're thinking about your SMS.
I think perhaps Barbara's question was in response maybe to my answer, but yeah, as long as you've got that integration, sorry, the question is, can you deliver your rewards via SMS? As long as you've got that SMS platform integration set up with Loyalty Lion, you can let customers know their rewards via text message.
Awesome. With 1 minute left, do we have any other questions here? Or? No, it looks good, right, guys?
It looks good.
Awesome. Folks, thank you for spending your last week before Thanksgiving with us. We are grateful for you. Attentive Loyalty Line, I'm grateful for you guys. Thank you for spending so much time. This was a nice chance for all three partners to work really closely together. The trifecta bond between our three orgs has never been stronger, and we're excited for what the year is going to bring in 2022. And thank you guys. We'll do this again sometime soon. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.